Alright. Guys, what's going on? We're in the building.
We were disconnecting the wires.
Yeah. Guys, make sure you come to the new channel. Air it out, yo. One word. Air it out, yo. All one word. Air it out, yo. We live right now. If y'all want to come over and switch over so you can see what we're doing right now,
It's good.
come over. Make sure you like and subscribe.
What? The Zoom's
That's good.
More.
Oh, that's good.
Nah, that's good.
That's perfect.
Make sure you like and subscribe. We going live right now. So air it out, yo. Just so you have as a backup the channel that we're on right now. You guys, you want to come over here because a lot of times this channel is going to get a lot slower and talk about food and all that other kind of stuff. But this one is where we're going to be airing it out, yo. So make sure you come over, like and subscribe. Air it out, yo. We're going to air it out a little bit right now. So let's get to it.
Yeah, that's good.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Come over to the channel. Air it out, yo. In the studio.
In the studio. Alright.
You guys,
Alright, so let's get to it.
you guys ready?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
All right.
Yeah.
We start in 3, 2, 1.
Back again.
Back again, man. And we got a lot to talk about,
We
man.
do have a lot to talk about. And it's some dark stuff I want to talk about, so I guess you being in a dark soul,
Yep.
you got the darkness.
Yep.
No, but even in the darkness you're a beam of light. But nonetheless, I feel like there's a lot that I want to talk about. It's a very strange topic. And the fact that we have to talk about it and discuss it makes it even more sad.
And the timing in which it's happening, by the way.
Yeah. So, I mean, before we get started, this is not for the faint of heart. We want to talk about the British, Pakistani Muslim graping that is going on, the graping gangs. I don't want to say the word.
Yeah, great.
So we're
For
just
sure.
going to use the grape, and you obviously know what that means. And it's sad and pathetic as to what's going on, and I feel like as a Muslim we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
We have to address this. And I know we're gonna get a lot of backlash from our own community for speaking out.
And I gotta be fair too, so I'm not just gonna be like yes guy. I'm gonna say how I honestly feel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely I'm with you, brother. But if there is a little bit of wiggle room where I could say, you know, how I see, because like right now I just think this is strange that it's coming out right now.
Yeah.
You know, and I just wanted to be honest, like, you know.
Why do you think it's strange? Let me start there.
I just feel that this transition with Trump, I think that they're trying to cause a Muslim scare, you know, and I'm not saying that this obviously is an issue, right? But I didn't hear about it through the entire Biden, Kamala Harris administration. They didn't see nothing about it. And if they did, it didn't make it to our news, and Elon Musk could have said something before. So I know it's being done. It's wrong. I'm just going to say that. The graping of, it don't matter the age of the girl, is wrong. But I'm wondering, what are they up to? That's all.
Do you think there's a conspiracy of
Oh,
sorts?
sure. Definitely.
Is it because that in the United States now you have a conservative power?
Yeah.
Are they trying to now
Pushing
outstir all the
white
liberal
power stuff.
Like basically it's because a lot of liberal power bases are being thrown out now.
Yeah.
Right, you're seeing that happen in Canada.
Yep.
UK is currently run by a leftist kind of a party. They're not a conservative party.
Yep.
And so you're seeing the whole pendulum swing where
Yep.
more conservative, and with conservatism brings in a lot of these far right ideologies to the forefront, right?
Right.
Like the supremacist types, or just the nationalist types, or just one group type. So I do understand where you're coming from as well, because this stuff has been going on for a very long time.
Right.
We don't hear about it because we're not paying attention to it.
Right.
But this stuff has been going on for a while.
And I want to also just make sure our audience know white supremacy is also on the left even more than on the right. White supremacy on the left comes in the form of homosexuality. It comes in the form of basically smiling in your face, but at the same time, fascism. Okay, so that they make it seem like that's just right wing, you know, item. No, that's not true.
From the right, I feel there's white Christianity supremacy, kind of ideological sort of strive.
Yeah.
From the left, it's just a white fascist, maybe communist, socialist, homosexual push.
Right.
And so there's extremisms on both sides, and there's extremism even in the Muslim community.
Right.
And within the Muslim community, there's also extremism in thoughts, even from the British versus the American experience,
Right.
right? We come into America for better or for worse or whatever. We are, I would say, we are pretty well assimilated in this country. But in UK, you don't really have that,
Right.
and that's where the problem stems from. And there's a lot of this sort of, oh, you gotta be correct all the time.
Right.
You can't point fingers and say, no, this black guy did this, because that is a racist thing to say.
Right.
You can't look at me and say there is a brown Muslim guy who committed this crime,
Right.
because that is looked on as racism.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Tell me about what exactly is being said. Who are they saying it about? And just give us a little bit of background on what is the actual claims that are going on. Because I know just 10% of what's happening.
So, in the United Kingdom,
Okay.
these are Pakistani heritage or ethnic origin British Muslims,
That's it.
a lot of them with the first name Muhammad,
Mm-hmm.
who are organized in terms of raping little girls.
Okay. And what?
Okay.
And are these their own women?
No, these are white women specifically.
So they're going after the white coochie.
They're going after the whites. Yeah.
Okay.
And the problem that I have with this is that it's not something new.
Okay.
This has been going on for a while. But every time somebody addresses it, or you know, somebody gets caught in it, there's always these tropes: you're racist. Why are you going after these people? You're Islamophobe. You know, you have Islamophobia in your heart. You're a white nationalist, and so on and so forth. Now, within the United Kingdom, there are two different gangs or groups that are operating. There is the T groups, okay, terrorist groups that are doing this, where they're not really doing the raping,
Mm-hmm.
but they have a very extreme ideology.
And they don't mind the raping.
And they are working closely with gangs who are Pakistani Muslim gangs. And the Pakistani Muslim gangs are the ones that are dealing with the drugs, they're the ones dealing with prostitution, racketeering, gambling, and so on and so forth. All the things that Islam prohibits. But then they justify it on the basis of saying, hey, it's justifiable because we are in a state of jihad. So to carry on our jihad, it is acceptable for us to do these things, and we will look the other way because look at what they're doing to us in Palestine, Kashmir, and all these other foreign places. So then they are the ones that are backing them indirectly or directly, and then you don't want to have a problem with these T groups because they are not just violent, but they are willing to blow things up in the United Kingdom. So the police are taking more like a hands-off approach, indirect approach.
They don't want to start no shit.
They don't want to start nothing. And then these gangs are getting emboldened, and then they have also bought a lot of these police officers, corrupted the system, and so on and so forth. And my problem comes in, okay, the system needs to be corrected for sure, 100%, right? This is not just a problem within just a Muslim community. This is a problem with the Muslim community, along with the British police, the way they are working and operating, along with the court systems, along with the way that the parliament is set up. And so it
Now,
goes...
Can I play devil's advocate for a second? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now, last year was this an issue?
It's been an issue for a while.
Has it been this big? Is what I'm saying.
I think that recently the story ignited because it happened recently with 7 men, and what the story was that 7 men were caught where they had intoxicated a young minor.
I'm sure they've been doing it.
They've been doing that, but it was crazy because instead of arresting the guys, they ended up arresting the girl.
Okay, which I'm not surprised by.
Okay, so they arrested the girl, the minor, saying that she was intoxicated or she was drugged out, whatever it may be. and nothing happened to those guys,
which is insane.
which is insane.
Okay, but let me say this now. Now, we do know, which since I've been living, I've never heard a president say, thank you to the Muslim community for getting me in office. Muslims all over the world, other than ones who are really having problems with Israel, you know, are on an all-time high. Business is looking good. They're, like, in this country, we are with the winning team, right? And all of a sudden, now it's like, oh, look what these Muslims are doing over here. I just kind of feel like they're trying to take a little bit of air out of our balloon. And I don't know if that's it. I know that this is obviously a way bigger issue.
I think, look,
But it's just crazy how this is happening right now.
I think that lack of awareness as to where you are in the present, where you are right now, politically, economically, socially, morally. It is never, look, people justify it. Oh well, this is happening in Palestine. Also, it's justified.
It's not.
It's not justified.
Can't do that.
They are not our teachers. It doesn't matter how much injustice anybody else does to us. We cannot retaliate in the same way because then we become the same animals as them. Period. Because if that was the case, then the Prophet Muhammad would have done that. He did not do any of that. He forgave Abu Sufyan. He forgave the people of Taif. There's examples in the Quran. And speaking of this, I want to quote a verse directly from chapter 81, Surah Taqweer, verse number 9. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بأي ذنب قتلت وإذا الصحف نشرت وإذا السماء كشطت وإذا الجحيم سئرت وإذا الجنة أزلفت علمت نفس ما أحضرت فلا أقسم بالخنس. For what sin was she killed? God is asking, وَإِذَا الْمَعُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ. For when the girl child that was buried alive will be asked, بِأَيِّ ذُنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. For what sin was she killed? It's a rhetorical question that God is asking. And you know who he's asking? He's asking the father of the girl that he murdered. Because she was a girl. And she's not a Muslim girl. And that man is not a Muslim man. It's a pagan man. And God is asking that pagan man, for what crime did you kill this girl? And when the scrolls of deeds will be unrolled, and when the sky will be stripped off, and when the hell will be set ablaze, and when paradise will be brought close, then everyone will know what he or she has put forward. And I swear by the stars that receive. This is the verse of the Quran. So for that girl, who has no consciousness, brand new baby.
You're talking about the one that was great.
No, I'm talking about the air customs when during the Prophet's time, they used to practice a thing called infanticide, where they would kill the baby girl as soon as she was born because she was a girl. They had no need for a girl.
This was happening in America too, by the way.
Probably, but this was a custom amongst the Arabs. And God is saying, even for that baby girl, there's justice for her.
Sure.
And she's not a Muslim. The father is not a Muslim. And he himself is being held account for this deed. So then tell me, for somebody who has this religion, who has the book, who has everything else, for them to be then talking about all these other things and saying that, oh, it is justifiable because of what is happening, then it's wrong.
Let me ask you a question. How much of the Muslim world has taken any accountability for this so far?
Almost none. That's where the problem comes in. Because the first line of defense should have been the imams. The imams should have been like, you know what, they're not our teachers, we cannot be doing this. It doesn't matter if your first name is Muhammad, it doesn't matter.
Has there been any press conferences where people come out and say...
No, they're supporting each other. Because what you don't want is you don't want backlash in this community. Because as soon as you say, hey, you know what, I am not for this, the first people that will attack you are your own people within your congregation.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You have, in England, the most powerful, arguably, country in the world,
Outside
white,
of the United States.
outside of the United States, white girls, young white girls, are getting raped by native Pakistani gangs, and the police is kind of looking the other way. Politicians. This smells funny. I know it's happening. It just does not make any sense.
But this is what happens when the government goes woke. You can't criticize anybody. Because
Okay, now it makes sense. Because honestly, the woke government was probably paying for this shit. By the way.
Right. So
okay, you got me now.
So this is what happened, and this is why this is a problem.
Okay.
Because to call it out for what it is, it doesn't make.
And what's up with the imams? Like you said, why are they not saying anything about this?
Even if they are, they should be the ones saying, you know what, if within our community, we know the congregation, we know this person is related to this and that, so on and so forth, based off our network.
Yeah.
Get these guys. Put these guys behind bars. You know, when they talk about, they have actually in the United Kingdom, they have Sharia courts. Okay? So when you have Sharia court in the United Kingdom, is Sharia court only for marriage purposes? Is it only for like Zabiya, or how to make it halal? It's for everything, right? So when you have a person who has been caught, witnessed by multiple people for raping, and they have a history of that, or they're trafficking in drugs. You know what the penalty is in Saudi Arabia? Based off their own Salafi, is beheading.
Yeah.
They're gonna publicly execute you, and this is based off of
Even in
Salafi.
Dubai, if you get caught raping a girl in any Muslim country, you more than likely your life is done in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
You're finished.
The penalty for fornication is 100 whips.
Yeah.
For adultery, it's stoning to death. For selling drugs, it is death penalty by the sword. Okay? This is also Sharia law. This is so that crime doesn't spread. So you cannot have it both ways, where you say, oh, you know what, we want Sharia law because, you know, we want to marry according to our customs, we want to pray, we want to dress in our clothes, this and that. But when our own people are committing crimes, we don't want to prosecute them. That's not right. How are you justifying that?
I gotta do more on this, because again, this is an outrage. Because and also you would think that there would be more of the white community saying something. And this is in a first world country. You know, this is not in, you know, Algeria or Ethiopia. This is where the king and queen is. This is the dukes and duchess. It's really shocking that this is going on.
Right.
This is the home of Freemasonry. The
Yes.
British Empire.
British Empire, yeah, the hub, the capital
hub
of
of everything.
the largest empire ever formed on earth.
I feel that, and then to be quiet by the imams, to be quiet by, you know, the white community, and any community, because I mean, everybody should be making an outrage out of this. Everybody should be making an issue. I'm just worried, and I don't want this to get any bigger. I want it to be dealt with, like you said, but I don't want this to get any bigger, because what I feel like what they're trying to do is wake up an animal, because right now on the right we are connected. Right now there are a lot of parts and hubs that came together to put Trump and to change. Because we are the head of the snake. We're putting conservatism everywhere. They know how to light a racist fire in some stupid conservatives or stupid right-wingers. And I believe that this is their way of starting an anti-Islamic, so we can't focus. Because right now, Muslims are a huge part of this conservative movement. We wouldn't have gotten to the White House without Muslims. And that's why I believe Trump was the one who said thank you to the Muslims you helped put me here.
Right, but I think that from the political angle, look.
All you're gonna have now is skinheads coming out now talking about we gotta get rid of these Muslims.
Right, but they, skinheads, you know, rednecks, and all of these other people, they cannot finish Islam.
That they can cause a wreck that we've never seen.
They can cause whatever they want, but they cannot eliminate Islam. Because God Himself has taken protection of this religion. God Himself is saying that this religion will spread in every house, irrespective of whether they like it or not. That is the fact. And when God has taken that challenge and that command upon Himself, then it will happen. But that doesn't mean that we become people of justice when it's convenient for us.
Yeah, but
That's the part where it's wrong. You have to call black, black, white, white, right, wrong, wrong.
wait. There's a little bit of gray
Okay.
because while Allah has said these things, there are still things that are happening that is not being managed correctly. And obviously, you see what's happening in Lebanon. You see what's happening in Palestine.
Okay.
Irrespective of, we know it's wrong, and
But
with,
does that mean?
no, hear me out though. With that type of sentiment towards Islam, all you need to get these crazy, and that happened to Emmett Till. Some white girl blamed him for whatever, and it caused a fire that, while Allah might be in charge, last year a lot of people died in Palestine who were Muslims. A lot of people died this year in Syria who was Muslims, and in America, around the world. Until Allah is going to put these things to an end, people are still going to feel pain. And I think these people, I'm not saying that the ones who are doing bad, because they're totally wrong. And we need to do something about it, first of all, immediately, to put an end to it, because I think they're going to capitalize on this, and they're going to start a war that takes control. Oh, this can start a war in Europe. This can be the beginning of a war in Europe, by the way. It can.
Look, I cannot speak for the skinhead community. I don't know how they're gonna react. Okay,
We've seen them do this years ago when they got upset.
they can, but that's what I'm saying. That when your house is in order, no one can throw you out of your house. But when your own house is on fire, then you need to put out your own fire. That's the problem. I don't care about the other communities. I'm looking at it just from the context of the Quran and the Muslims and the so-called Muslims.
But don't you see something wrong if the imams are not saying nothing, the police is not saying nothing? What makes you think that this is not a setup?
Okay, let me give it to you in this way, right? You and I, we like Trump,
Yes.
okay? Logically speaking, he's a man of peace, okay? How many imams in the United States are pro-Trump?
I think for quite a couple numbers.
Very few. It's not a majority of imams. And we live in a place like Texas. Texas is naturally a Republican state, right?
Yes.
And even in this state, you don't have the majority of imams that are Republican. When in a masjid, you have to look left and right to say, I'm going to vote for Trump before you even whisper the word Trump.
Jeez.
That's a problem.
That's a problem. That's a huge problem.
That's a huge problem.
That's a huge problem.
And so
How do we deal with that though?
the amount of Muslim women that are still liberal, that wear the hijab, and they say, if you ever talk to me about Trump or you support Trump, I will not marry you.
That happened to me too. I'm going through that right now.
Exactly.
Oh my
So
God.
so
we're in
now
trouble.
so now what now we're talking about the issues at hand, right? Now we're actually discussing that it is not just a issue of, why aren't the imams saying anything about it?
Right.
The same thing's happening in the United States as well. When you had one imam come out and say, I support Trump because, he's the man that's going to bring us peace, Mehdi Hassan got him on a show and berated him.
Damn, bro, you're making sense right now. Like seriously, like
Right? He wouldn't even let him speak. And he's an imam, so you're supposed to give him that respect. Why didn't you let him speak?
facts.
And the reason why you did that is because you have an agenda at play. And I told you, Mehdi Hassan is a snake. He talks big talk about Palestine, this and that. He should be pointing fingers at his own government because his British government is the reason why you have issues in Palestine and Israel.
Right.
It's not the Americans. Americans didn't create this mess. It was the British that created it. He should be on British's butts every single day that you should fix this problem.
Facts.
India, Pakistan, British created these problems. All of these problems in the Middle East were created by the British. All of the legacy boundary lines are created by the British.
Right.
The Duran line, this line, like these borders, they're all British based.
Yeah.
So why are you criticizing the United States? You should be criticizing your own government.
Right.
Check your own collar before you call us out on it. But the fact doesn't change.
You're blowing my mind now. What the frick is going on with these so-called? Why is there so much liberalism in Islam? What is going on with that? I'm scared now.
Okay. The way that I have seen it is that you want to operate on the basis of we just want to get along with everybody. Okay, that's the attitude. We don't want to start nothing. We're very pacifists. Oh, these radicals, they have nothing to do with us. Islam teaches us this. It's defense mechanisms. This is all defense play, D plays. This is not offensive plays. Because offensive play is like, yeah, we're Muslims, but that is wrong. That's not part of Islam. And you know what? I will fight against that. We're not doing that.
Black women got mad at black men for not following their liberal shit. Black women also said out loud, Palestinians will not get our support no more because you voted for Trump. That was going all over social media. That's scary. That these. Do you think they're afraid if they don't go liberal that they're gonna lose some sort of support?
Of course. I mean, look.
I'm talking about Muslims in general.
Muslims in general, right?
And I had a woman. Let me just say this with no disrespect. No, I'm not gonna say that. But there was some sisters who said that to me. I don't like the fact that you like Trump. So I don't think we can talk. And I'm thinking, well, so if I would have went for Joe Biden and Kamala, I would have been okay. Dude, this is not good, man.
A lot of the people, the amount of influence that Muslim women have on the masjids in the community, it's very strong. It's a very underrated element of it. I'll give you a small example of it. Happened here at Epic Masjid. Okay? Namal Ali Khan, he went through a lot of stuff and whatnot, whatever, right? Things happen. They did not want him back to give any sort of sermon, lecture, or anything like that. Epic Masjid is one of the only few masjids that allowed him to speak. And the backlash, the majority of the backlash that was there was by the Muslim liberal woman who did not want to give him a platform to speak. And I argued with some of these Muslims in the Muslim group chats that I was in, and I asked them why. I'm like, and first of all, I asked them, do you even frequent this mosque? And they said, no, we don't frequent this mosque. I'm like, have you ever been in there? Oh, maybe once. But that's about it. So they're not even part of that community. They go to VRIC, Value Ranch, which is all on the other side of town. Okay? But the amount of social media outrage, the amount of group chats, they started coming up with lists of men that they would share amongst their Muslim circles, saying that do not talk to this guy, do not befriend this guy, because he's a Republican or he's a conservative or he's supportive of this person, that person, yada, yada, yada. Okay? And then you tell them that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, forgave even his worst enemy. And they said, that part we don't want to believe.
I don't like this. I'm serious. And I feel that, the left is intelligent. I mean, I honestly feel that they're going to play on this. And I see it coming already. Like, the things that we have, the excitement that we have, the momentum we have as a whole conservative, right-wing family, they're going to try to fracture that with burning mosques, causing division, yelling out anti-Muslim stuff, because it hasn't been happening. Also with the black community, cops killing us and all this other kind of stuff. I bet you they're gonna try to start that bullshit again, because right now it has died down. Nobody cares about it. Nobody's listening to it. I'm just concerned because, like I said, this stuff wasn't an issue. All of a sudden, when Trump is getting back in, I listen to First Post. I listen to Paukisha. She's one of the people I listen to a lot. She's pushing this story a lot, and thank God, because I guess Elon Musk. I'm worried, man. I'm worried about.
Look, I think
a lot of stuff right now.
I think that if you
and I'm worried about Elon Musk too, doing too much right now.
I agree, but at the same time, if you speak the truth with the right intention, you're gonna pay a small price for it. But you know what? In the long term, in the grand scheme of things, if God has our back, we can fight against the entire universe, and we're gonna come out on top. Why? Because we are on the side of truth. Look at what they did to Trump. They even tried to assassinate him. If that is not a miracle, I don't know what is a miracle. When the Imam said that, I believe, Imam Bilal said in Michigan, I believe that God saved your life so you can save the life of others. And Trump was there, yeah, like, oh wow, that's powerful. It's because that is a factual statement. The wars that are going to end, those are saving lives. Okay? The fact that you have Muslims that are now coming into the conservative movement, that is a good thing. Why are we held hostage to a political ideology, a political party, the Democrats, the liberals, who have who don't represent our values? We are not for homosexuality. We are not for all these liberal movements. We're not for this feminism kind of an outrage. We have women's rights, but that doesn't mean that they can do whatever they want. Just like we as men cannot do whatever we want. Because in a free society, then everything's okay. It's okay to rape a 9-year-old because you're in a free society. If she gave consent, it's okay. Because you're in a free society, how could you? That's oppressive.
That's sick.
And it's a symptom of sick mentality, and that's what I'm saying. So if you have a lot of these things happening, where are the imams in the United Kingdom who are saying that hang these people according to the Sharia? We want them beheaded on a public square. We don't want drugs in our communities. Where are these imams? Why do they become liberal all of a sudden? And why do they criticize anyone who's a Republican or who's a conservative?
I think they're, and I don't know if this is a good thing, but I think their way of becoming liberal, because I'm starting to see certain Muslims, okay, trying to wear colorful hair, just trying to blend in and just kind of be part of whatever's going on. When in Rome, do what Rome do, right? But I don't like the fact that you think, and I see my community fall victim to it. Like, we think the only way to get closer to white people is by being gay. As you guys say it, the other thing sometimes we feel like the only way to be part of white people is to take a liberal agenda. And this is sad, and this is what I mean to y'all who are listening. White supremacy is not just in some right wing or just some white thing or just some conservative. Liberals on the left, their white supremacy comes in a different formation, and it almost holds your whole community hostage. Seriously, and like I said, I can't imagine, because the black community, I want to say about 92% of us for the last 40 years have been under the Democrats and liberals. We have broken out just as much as Muslims have out of the liberal left. And they hold you hostage. You're not going to get funding. You are a racist. You're a pig. Women are against you. You're homophobic. I mean, you just doing the right thing makes you an enemy. And I mean, we gotta fight back. We gotta fight back. We gotta fight back.
And that's what I'm saying.
I'm sick of this.
For me,
it's a disease.
It is a disease. It's a mental disease, and it's
a
disease
mental
of
disease.
It's a mental disease. It's the disease of the heart as well as the mental state. That's the problem.
You seen Prince Andrew, right? Jeffrey Epstein. These are the liberals that are controlling using white supremacy. Jeffrey Epstein's. Okay, these guys get a pass by black women too, Oprah, and some liberal Muslims. Oh, he's not that bad. I'd rather be with him and his white supremacy, whatever, than these, hardcore right-winger supremacy. So look, this is crazy. This is crazy. And to those, if you're listening somewhere out there, we gotta hold these guys accountable. These Muslims that are doing this, you are a disgrace. This is terrible. This is wicked. This is evil. There is no excuse for this. We need outrage.
Not just outrage. We need to grab them by their forelock and hold them to account. They need to be held to account. Totally. I want nothing less than the death penalty for them.
Right.
Nothing less.
Because I agree.
When you talk about all these principles or Islam gave women right and stuff like that, that 9-year-old also has rights as well.
Right.
You cannot use your first name Muhammad as a convenience now to say, oh, but we're Muslims, oh, we're allowed to do it because of the injustice, because of, look at what they do to us overseas. They're not our teachers. Umar Mukhtar said it best, the lion of the desert. They are not our teachers. You see them do offenses which are against humanity. We cannot devolve to that level of cruelty against others. And especially when we live in the same country and we're citizens of that country.
You can't do this.
It's like, imagine, you have daughters. Imagine that someone comes in and says, you know what?
Do you think Trump will get behind this, or he doesn't want to deal with this?
Trump, man, it's a local issue that is now crept up all the way into the corruption that is within the Liberal Party of the United Kingdom. You need to end the wokeness. If he's not getting involved, he needs to bully them into submission. That's the way I see it. Unless the Muslim community is like, you know what?
This is a powerful gem. This woke thing is not just some woke movement. It is, and it's happening to our children. And I think this is why Trump spoke and said there's only two genders in this community. This is white supremacy. This is your real white supremacy, in my opinion. It doesn't come in the form of, oh, I don't like you because you're Muslim. I don't like you because you're black. That may be a form of prejudice. But I think the real white supremacy is what is controlling our children's sexuality. What's controlling the sexuality all over? Because this has to do with sex. This is a sex crime.
No, it's a deviation. It's not just that.
Yeah, but they're being raped.
Yeah, but the people that are doing the raping, right?
Right.
These are not 15-year-old guys dating 14-year-old women.
Right.
These are 50-year-old men doing it to 13-year-old girls.
It's a sex crime still, though.
It is, but I mean, you have been alive for 50 years. You don't know that this is girl. You're exploiting her.
Right.
You're giving her drugs.
Now, this also can come into the form of their perversion.
Yeah, but that's what. Okay,
I don't think they're just like, you know what? Let's just get a young girl back, because of what the British did to us. They like young chicks.
Oh, okay,
whoever's doing this.
Whether you like young chicks.
Right. Because that has to be also an issue that we have to look at. These people may need, the ones that are doing it, they may need help, like to get them off. But
okay, you like a young chick. Let's follow through, right? Let's not jump around. Let's take one item at a time. You like young chicks, okay? Let's just say. I'm not saying you in particular, but I'm saying this one dude who's 50-year-old. He's like, I want a young girl, okay? You want to marry that girl, right? Because you like young girl. So you get to know her, you show her a good time, and then you end up marrying her. Okay? I can get behind that. When she reaches the age of consent, when she's mature enough, she consents willingly out of her free will. Because Islamically, that's how marriages work, right? It's the girl that has to say yes to the guy, right? The family can influence that, the guy can influence it. That's the commandment in the Quran, okay?
But that's something different, though.
Hold on. But let me come full circle with this. But when you have the same girl that you're courting, and 7 of your other boys who are 50-year-old and stuff like that, raping the same girl that you were with in front of you, doesn't it affect your consciousness as a man?
Yes. But wait, we're talking about a whole different thing here. Okay, so you saw those shows where pedophiles are trying to lure young girls, and then they come in with the cameras and like, you're busted. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guys that are doing this are not just Muslims. So we gotta take Muslims kind of out of the table. These are people, like in America and other places, who are online predators who like young girls. So they also need to figure out what, like, I bet you these people who are doing this watch pornography. And they probably watch child pornography.
They are deviants, right? Okay, but these, and I know the videos. I've seen those videos as well. So
you don't think that they fall into this category?
Of course.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that if you are doing something like this,
yes,
and your name is Muhammad or Ahmed, or you're a Muslim, or whatever it may be, if you are a Muslim and you are caught, or you are involved or partaking in a gang, then the penalty on you is death. Period. 1,000 heads got to roll until this has to come. This has to come to an end. How else are you gonna
but
end
we
this?
can't do that either.
Why not?
Because if you're gonna assimilate in Europe, you can't roll heads.
Why not?
Because Europe doesn't roll heads.
Okay, well, if Europe doesn't want to roll heads,
You see what I'm saying?
British
okay.
has Sharia law
No,
in place.
I totally get you.
Okay, so
That-
then electrocute them, put them on a chair, and put an end to this. Can we do that?
yes.
Okay, or if not, if you don't want to, if
And
you
we
don't
can
want to.
cut their heads off if you
Okay, okay, fine. Don't cut their head. Don't cut
No,
their.
really,
their
seriously,
no,
because-
okay, hold on. I'll give you an alternative. Don't cut their actual head off. Cut their penis's head off. Okay.
No, I'm okay with either one because no, seriously, if you rape a woman, you should have your head cut off. If you rape a man, let's just not make this about women either, because they could be no disrespect. There's some organizations who were raping little boys, and we dealt with.
Right.
But
Right.
they need.
Catholic Church is
Right.
predominant for
Okay,
that.
they
Yeah.
can get their head cut off or their penis. I'm with that. What I was saying was that might cause a backlash and scare people. If you're like, okay, well, it should because you don't want to rape them. Okay,
Exactly. That's the whole point. That is the whole point of this thing. Because if you do that, then
Jeez.
it prevents others from saying, you know what, it's not worth it.
I don't know, just the way you say it sounds like you seriously cut this head off. Goddamn! No, I'm kidding.
But they're criminals.
You're
Convicted
right.
criminals. I'm not
You're
saying that, you know what, you just make an accusation, a false accusation
Right.
of somebody. You
We're
have
not
to
talking
go
about
through
stealing a Twinkie, but
Yeah.
you're talking about raping somebody.
like
You're gonna
there's
die.
a whole gangs and there's history like from 97 on to 2006 there were 1,400 incidents and so on and so forth. We're not talking about just pick a guy randomly off the street and be like, hey, you're Muslim, we're gonna do this to you.
Let me ask you this. What is the first step we need to do? Because I'm going to get on this and get on my research now, and I'm going to make some videos on this as well. We're going to continue to talk about this. What are some things we can do right away to push and let them know that this is not...
We gotta talk about this.
Okay.
That's the number one thing. And we have to let our own community know. We have to let other communities know that this is not acceptable. As a Muslim, as a man who has women, mothers, sisters,